Ryan did everything right. Paid off $60,000 in student loans by 30, built his credit score to 740, saved for 4 years, $80,000 sitting in a high-yield account earning 4% while home prices went up 11. Ryan cannot buy a house in any market he can realistically live in. The modest 1,200 square foot, nothing fancy, but it's mine, house that his parents bought at his age, that product no longer exists in meaningful supply anywhere in this country. He didn't fail. The product was discontinued. And I want to show you exactly who discontinued it. Because it wasn't one bad actor. It wasn't a crash. It wasn't bad luck. It was a system working perfectly. Just not for Ryan. In the early 1980s, roughly 40% of all new homes built in America were entry-level, affordable, modest, the kind of place one income and a used car could unlock. By 2023, 9%. 9. That's a 40-year structural collapse that happened in plain sight while everyone was busy arguing about whether young people spend too much on coffee. The coffee was not the problem. And if you're sitting there right now thinking, well, I just need to save more, work harder, find the right market, I need you to hear this clearly. The entry-level inventory you're saving toward stopped being built before you started saving. You're running toward a target that the system quietly removed from the field. 3 groups did this. They didn't coordinate, didn't need to. Each one followed their own incentive. The outcome just happened to be Ryan's ceiling. If this channel is new to you and you're already feeling that low-grade financial anxiety, subscribe. We keep going. And stay with me, because the part that genuinely surprised me, the group that nobody talks about when they have this conversation, that's coming in about 2 minutes. First group, builders. Before you decide they're the villain, run their math for a second. A mid-size builder wants to put up a starter home. 1,200 square feet, decent suburb. They price out land acquisition, site prep, materials, labor, permits. The permits alone take 18 months. Insurance, fees. By the time every line item is in, the margin on that home is nearly zero. The margin on a 2,500 square foot premium home 2 streets over, comfortable enough to actually run a business on. Builders aren't skipping affordable housing because they hate Ryan. They're skipping it because a business that builds zero-margin products doesn't stay a business. That's not greed. That's arithmetic. And before the first nail goes in, regulation, local permitting, zoning compliance, environmental review, already accounts for roughly 25% of total construction cost, a quarter of the price, before anything is built.
Zoning laws were written about 100 years ago. The logic was simple. Keep factories away from schools. Keep industrial noise out of neighborhoods. Nobody argues with that. But somewhere between then and now, and there's no clean date for this, it just kind of crept in. Zoning stopped being about separating hazards and started being about protecting values. Home values. And the mechanism is almost elegant if you're not the one on the wrong side of it. A neighborhood of existing homeowners shows up to a public meeting. They vote, legally, democratically, with parking validation, to block new density. No apartments, no townhouses, no small lot single family. They cite school overcrowding, traffic, neighborhood character. Supply in that area freezes. Demand keeps climbing. Their home values go up. Their kids can't afford to buy nearby. And they will tell you both of those things, sometimes in the same sentence, without pausing. I've been at that table, not as a stranger, with people I genuinely like, people who are warm and generous in every other part of their life. We were having dinner, good food, good wine, and someone started talking about a new development proposed 2 streets away. Townhouses, affordable ones. The tone changed in about 30 seconds. Nobody said anything malicious. Nobody had to. It was just concern about traffic, about schools, about what it would do to the neighborhood. All reasonable sounding, all legitimate on the surface. And I sat there doing the math in my head, because the floor they were standing on was the ceiling they were building for everyone younger than them. They couldn't see it. I don't think they wanted to see it. Some cities are finally cracking. San Antonio has builders putting up sub-1,000 square foot detached homes, unthinkable 5 years ago. Atlanta's looser zoning has made it one of the few metros where a first-time buyer can still find footing without family money. But these are exceptions, written up in think pieces, shared on LinkedIn. The rule is still, own first, the system works for you. Don't own yet, the system wasn't designed with you in mind. And here's the part that I keep turning over. Everything I just described, builders, zoning boards, local votes, none of it requires anyone to be malicious.
The system is producing exactly this outcome without a single villain in the room, which means the group I'm about to describe is the only one that actually chose this, deliberately, with a spreadsheet. Institutional investors, Blackstone, Invitation Homes, the real estate arms of hedge funds you've never heard of, own between 1 and 2% of housing stock nationally. That number gets weaponized constantly. Critics use it to explain the entire crisis. Defenders use it to dismiss the conversation entirely. Both are missing the point. The national number hides what's happening locally. In fast-growing affordable markets, Charlotte, Phoenix, Atlanta, parts of Texas, institutional buyers identified the same opportunity Ryan identified. Got there first, paid cash. They're not the cause of the national supply problem. But in the specific zip codes where Ryan's budget actually reaches, they are the competition. And they don't need approval from a bank. Ryan needs approval from a bank. First-time buyers right now are showing up with inherited money, liquidated retirement accounts, cashed-out stock portfolios, down payment gifts from parents, and still losing bids. Think about that for a second. You probably know someone who bought in the last 3 years. Ask them how many offers they lost before one got accepted. Ask them who they lost to. The median buyer age is 38 because that's how long it now takes to accumulate enough outside help to compete, not to save enough. And look, I'm not telling you this so you feel hopeless. I'm telling you this because if you're still operating on the assumption that saving harder is the answer, you are solving the wrong problem. The supply isn't there. The competition isn't going away. Understanding that is the first step to making a different decision. But wait, if this is so obvious, if economists have known this for 15 years, if the data is right there, why has nothing been done about it? Why does the system just sit here, broken, year after year? That answer is the most uncomfortable part of this whole video. And in Washington, someone is absolutely working on a task force about this. Economists have been describing the fix for 15 years. Reform local zoning. Tax land, not structures, so sitting on empty lots gets expensive. Cut the regulatory layer eating 25 cents of every construction dollar. None of it moves at scale. 65% of Americans own homes, voting majority. Their single largest financial asset, in most cases their only real asset, gets more valuable every time new supply is blocked. No elected official in a district full of homeowners campaigns on making home values drop. So they run task forces instead. Affordability initiatives, good press releases, modest budgets, ribbon cuttings at mixed-income developments, producing 400 units in cities that need 40,000. And the median buyer age climbs, 29, 32, 35, 38. Nobody schedules a press conference for that number. Ryan is not a press conference. The 2008 collapse sits in the background of every conversation about letting prices correct. Millions of homeowners went underwater. The psychological scar is deep enough that even reform-minded politicians go quiet when correction comes up. A correction means voters they know get hurt. So the system stays exactly where it is. And the 38-year-old first-time buyer stays with it. Ryan is going to buy a house eventually, probably at 38, probably not the one he imagined at 28, probably in a city he didn't plan on, with a mortgage that's larger than it should be after a process that took longer than it had any right to. And someone will tell him he should feel proud of himself for getting there. The starter home wasn't priced out of existence by bad luck. The people who control land, zoning, capital, and policy each made a rational decision, separately, without coordinating. And the sum of those decisions was that Ryan's version of the dream simply wasn't one of the incentives anyone was optimizing for. Once you see that, you stop waiting for the system to fix itself. You start making different decisions about where to live, about what wealth actually looks like from where you're standing right now. Not your parents' version, yours. That's not giving up. That's finally seeing the board clearly before you make your move. The question is whether you figure that out before or after you spend 4 more years saving toward a target that's moving faster than you are. If this made you rethink real estate, not just as a place to live, but as an asset class with its own rules and its own traps, there's a video on this channel that breaks down exactly that. Stocks versus real estate. Which one actually builds wealth? Which one's been oversold? And why the answer is more complicated than either side admits. Watch that one next. This is Breaking Money. See you in the next one.